The chapter begins with a shock troop of the Omega Men invading the Lazarus Corp facilities in Nevada, hoping to locate and shut down Brainiac's system server. To their surprise, the place appears to be empty, despite drawing massive amounts of energy. But suddenly, one of them is struck by a purple beam, and his skin simply vanishes, causing him to die screaming in agony. The other shock troop members hear an unknown voice in their heads saying that their comrade's skin was only shrunk. Suddenly, another soldier collapses, paralyzed as his muscles disappear. He begs for death while another one literally vomits up his own bones. The only survivor tries to escape, but he too is hit by a purple beam that makes his hand grow to an enormous size. Next, he's attacked by what appear to be giant virus cells that begin to infect and eat away at his entire body. Finally, the one responsible for this entire bizarre scene shows up. Of course, it's Brainiac, Absolute Brainiac, a psychotic alien cyborg. Brainiac takes the man to his lab and completely dismembers him while he's still alive. As if that weren't enough, he puts the brain into some kind of jar, still connected to the body. While toying with him cruelly, Brainiac complains that he can't figure out what Superman is. He even yells at his bottled cities, calling them useless because none of them recognize him. In a fit of rage, he smashes one of the bottles open and then stomps the miniaturized aliens inside to death. It's clear he's completely obsessed with Superman, especially because he needs to discover where Superman came from. And Ra's al Ghul is growing impatient. But eventually, he calms down and decides to reveal his life story to the Omega Man, claiming that he rarely has someone to talk to. Brainiac explains that he comes from an alien civilization devoted to the pursuit of knowledge called the Brainiac Collective, where all members are known as Brainiac and distinguished by an alphanumeric code. He was a level 0 Brainiac, the lowest rank in society, created to spend his entire life sealed inside a single room on a starship, pushing dead Brainiac bodies into the ship's grinder. Brainiac never really agreed with his purpose, but still carried out his mission. Day after day, he loyally served the collective by disposing of what was seen as garbage. After 2,844 days, he found a living Brainiac among the dead. This Brainiac seemed to be made to stab and kill, and he attacked our Brainiac in a violent rage, stabbing him in the head and leaving part of his brain exposed. In the end, our Brainiac managed to kill the enraged one with his shovel, but the head injury, combined with years of isolation, gradually drove him insane. 1,638, he had gathered a few destroyed Brainiac bodies and was talking to them as if they were his superiors, pretending they were praising him and saying his work was appreciated. Eventually, the endless flow of bodies stopped, and he was finally able to clean the room. On day 49,901, he left the room and went looking for other Brainiacs, but found the ship completely deserted. When he reached the control center, he discovered a lone Brainiac in the captain's chair, apparently dead by suicide. Despite the initial shock, he felt happy at the sight. Every other Brainiac around him had been garbage, while he, at last, was Brainiac himself. That day, he discarded the final body into the grinder and declared himself the one and only Brainiac. He spent years traveling the stars, collecting bottled cities before arriving on Earth. Since he can't figure out where Superman is from, he decides to contact the collective for the first time since that day. He sends all data related to Superman and the red sunstone dust he leaves behind, asking them for Superman's identity or his planet of origin. The Brainiacs tell him his data must be wrong because no being in the universe has all the abilities this Superman supposedly does. They even scold Brainiac for wasting the collective's time. However, one of them does recognize that the Sunstone comes from Krypton, a planet not even worth studying, as all they know is that it was destroyed. He explains that he recently visited the former location of Krypton and analyzed the planet's radioactive remains. He transmits the chemical composition of the material to Brainiac, which leaves him stunned. And when the others ask who he is, he simply ends the transmission. With that, he finally kills the Omega Man, thanking him for being a good listener, and then synthesizes a sample of the radioactive material. This marks the birth of Kryptonite in the Absolute Universe, crystal form, just as we know it. Later, Brainiac goes to another lab where Smith is being transformed into a type of cyborg. The worst part is that he's awake and without any painkillers or anesthesia. He even begs Brainiac to just kill him, but Brainiac says he's not being punished. He's being prepared for a special implant, under orders from Ra's al Ghul himself. Smith is receiving a very special mission. He must travel to what will soon be the most dangerous war zone on Earth, a place called Kansas. And not only will he go there in his new body, he'll also be fully armed with Kryptonite. And so, with Smith on the verge of death, or rebirth, and the first sample of Kryptonite in hand, Absolute Brainiac takes the next step in his plan, turning Earth into his new horror lab. Superman has no idea what's coming, and when he finds out, it might be too late. To make sure you don't miss what happens next, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and drop a like to support us. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next adventure.